Hello everyone, it's Patty Behan and I want to thank you for tuning in today. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this cute place card that will be the perfect addition to your Thanksgiving place setting. I'll be using some Wendy Vecchi liquid pearls, archival inks, her stamp die stencil sets, some Ranger embossing powder, and I'm working on the Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station, so let's get started. To begin, I have a strip of distress heavyweight craft paper here, and I'm going to start by stamping all of my embellishments. And I'm going to be using the pumpkin from this set. It is the Autumn Greetings stamp die stencil set. And let me grab my block here, and I'm using Ranger's Emboss It Clear embossing ink to ink up the stamp. And for now, I'm just going to show you how I make one place card, but while you're doing this, you'll probably want to stamp out as many pumpkins for the amount of place cards you would like to make. Okay, so we have that stamped, and this is what it looks like. And then I'm going to use some copper superfine detail powder. And the reason why I'm using this is because the detail powder has smaller granules, so when you have a stamp that has these fine lines in it, it'll just emboss a little more crisp. And you'll see the detail of the stamp much better. Okay, so after we do that, I'm not going to melt it just yet. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my next thing, which are these two leaf stems here. And this comes from the A Million Thanks stamp die stencil set. And again, we'll ink these up with the clear Emboss It ink. And you'll need a pair of leaves for every place card that you're going to make. So once you stamp that, I'm going to use our Sage Metallic embossing powder. And we'll pour that over top. And take off the excess and put it back into the jar. And now we're going to melt the powder by using our Ranger heated craft tool. And this is where the magic happens. I love watching the embossing powder melt. And you can see how beautiful and shiny these are. And we're going to let that cool a second, and then we're going to paint in the pumpkin. So to do that, we're going to use the Wendy Vecchi liquid pearls. And I'm going to place some of the pearls on the craft sheet here. And this is carnation red. And then I have some orange blossom, and next is sunflower, and then last some night sky. Okay, and I have a paintbrush here in some water, and to begin I'm going to mix my sunflower and night sky to make a green color for the stem and the top of the pumpkin. So I'll mix these two colors together until I get the shade that I want, and then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and paint in the top of the stem. And then I'm going to put some green here as if maybe there were leaves, and then I'll use some carnation red and orange blossom, little bit of yellow to give it some shading, and I'll go back and forth until I get the color that I like. And I want to mention that since we're working on craft paper, it's very absorbent, so you might want to go back and do a couple coats. Next, I have a piece of heavyweight distress mixed media cardstock cut to 3 by 5. And after you do that, you'll want to work with the raised score line facing you as compared to the back of the card here where it's indented. So put the raised score line in front, And now we're going to make the background. And I have here a stencil from the Mercy and More stamp die stencil set from Wendy Vecchi. And we want to stencil this design on the entire place card, but as you can see, it doesn't fill the whole card, so we'll have to start at the bottom and then work our way towards the top. And I'm going to use some Orange Blossom Archival ink and some Fern Green. And we're going to alternate the colors. And I'll move this pad over here. So the first thing you want to do is center the design onto the card starting at the bottom here. And we'll use our magnets to secure everything in place. And then once that's done, just make a little adjustment here. Okay, and now I'm going to use Ranger's Detail Blending Tool to get in these little dots, and I'm going to start with the Orange Blossom, and I'm alternating the colors. You can see it's starting to make a diagonal pattern here. And then now I'm going in with the Fern Green. Once that's done, we'll adjust the stencil, matching up our previous coloring, and then finish off the rest of the place card. Now we can finish this up. What I did was I cut out the pumpkin and leaves with the coordinating dies, and now I'm going to place these on the front, and then I'm going to stamp the sentiment "Give Thanks." And to do that, I'm going to use the Wendy Vecchi Archival Acorn ink pad, and we'll ink this up. And then we'll stamp that over the pumpkin. Okay, and now once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and crease our place card here. And to do this, I'm going to place a piece of scrap paper over top so I don't blemish the paper when I use the bone folder to make a strong crease. And there we go, that looks good. And now we'll glue down our pieces here. And to do that, I'm just going to put a magnet there to keep it closed while I work on this. And then I'm using the Letter It clear adhesive foam. I'll put a couple pieces on the back here. Okay, and then I'll place my leaves with some double-sided adhesive tape by Letter It. And then last thing, I'm going to include the names. I just printed all the names on a piece of white cardstock, and I'll just cut them out close to the edge there. And then I'll just make a little flag by cutting a V in there. And now, since this is so white, I'm going to ink it up a little bit. And I'll use some Orange Blossom again, and using my detail blending tool, I'll just give it a little bit of color here. And then I'm using the Acorn ink and the blending tool just to edge that as well. And we'll glue this down with some double-sided adhesive. And we'll put it right in the middle of the pumpkin there. And then one more thing, we're going to ink the edges with some Acorn ink. I'm just rubbing the pad along the edges of front and back, just to give it a finished look. And there you have it. We're finished, and we have this cute place card, and even the back is decorated so it looks pretty on your table, and you're all set. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my place cards, and I hope you'll try to make this too. And if you'd like to do that, we have a link to the full supply list in the description box below. And if you'd like to see more crafty videos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.